Hello everyone, George here, and we're back with my implementation of this game, and we're going to work a little bit more on Foxy. Now, I really don't like these arms, they're way too short. In addition, there's a lot of tweaking I like to do with these legs. The first thing I want to do is come back to this calf and actually bring the calf up on one side over here. So if you ever look at bodybuilders or just people who work out and have their calves very developed, you're going to notice that they typically have one side higher up than the other. And there we go. And the only reason I know that is because at one point in my life, I actually did try to work out. And now I've stopped horribly and probably should try to do that again at some point so I can lose some weight. But anyway, let's take a look and see what's going on. That's fine for me. We're going to right click, go to vertex and move this out, I think. And now we're going to need to extrude this thing so it actually has some sort of depth. I'm going to go to one mode. There's our polygonal mesh. Now we're going to go to shift right click and extrude. I'm going to pull this out in the Z direction just a little bit, and that should be enough, hopefully, if we hit the 3 button, to give us our definition that we need, and it looks like it is. So we've got a bit coming out there, we've got sort of this angledness right here, which is kind of cool, I like that, and things look pretty good. Now the only thing I might want to consider changing is at the tops and the bottoms, I don't have a lot of clear definition. So there's that, and that's not really what I want. What I want is definition up here. So there we go. That defines that bit a little bit better. And let's do, whoops, definition on this side and definition, yeah, and it's only per side because of the way I ended up modeling this thing. So let's go back to here and whoops. And on that side, there we are, and we need to do the bottom, of course, so there we go, the bottom's good. So let's see what it looks like. I like it. We're going to go with it. That to me looks like a smooth bit that's going on. Now we need to deal with this waist, because the waist is not the waist that I want. So let's see, grab it, hit the 2 key. This needs to be even more streamlined, so we're going to go to vertex mode, grab everything in the front and pull it in, because there's no reason for it to be that far out. There's no anything there. And the same thing with the butt. The butt's got to come in. So we're going to, unfortunately, Foxy, you're not going to have a bootylicious butt. Instead, you're going to have what you need, which is fast and basically able to take down the player in a moment's notice, as far as I'm concerned. So have we grabbed everything we need to? I'm going to assume we did. Let's just kind of push that down and in a little bit. We do want to grab what's going on in here. So this and this, I want to pull that up and outwards maybe. Actually, you know what? Maybe that was the exact opposite thing I wanted to do. Let's grab the inside of this thing and pull it up. Okay, I think I can go with that for the moment. Now I don't know what I'm doing with this tail. This tail looks like crap. So let's jump into the midsection. So now I've started to put in muscles. Oh, what is that? That's some sort of a back plate, it looks like. And I'm thinking, since I'm doing this musculature, why don't we go ahead and thin that out? The idea is that we're going for a crazy thin fox. By crazy thin, I mean ridiculously thin. So let's actually WDV to the center here and use that to kind of like pull in all of these things. I want Foxy to be as narrow and crazy thin as possible in my implementation of this game. I want him to be, or her, who knows? It's an animatronic, who cares about gender, right? So I want this character to be ridiculous in terms of getting around and just taking the player out. We want to make sure we visualize that by making the character look that way. There we go. So there we go. Yeah, things are getting much thinner now. Look at that. See how it wraps around? Now we can even push and pull this a little bit more into what's going on. There we go. And I could probably play with this even more, maybe cut it up. So you can see I don't have a lot of geometry going on right here. So if we go to F8, F8 again, insert edge loop tool, and we do like 1 and 2, now I could go in here and like nuke this bit. Delete. And if we hit 3 on the keyboard, you can see what that does. I'm going to go to 2 key though. And what I really want to do is grab the inside of this and move that back and over. One is to see what this structure is going to look like. So let's go back to 1 really quick and see what horrible things I did to my model. There's the top of it right up there. You see it? Yeah, there we are. I'm going to push this down and over. Now we're going to combine the bits together. See how that's outside of that one though? That's kind of an issue. Kind of an issue. Let's go ahead and bridge stuff. So G key, G key, G key, bridge, 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 and G key again. And I am going to grab that one and bring it in. I don't know what that's going to ultimately do, but I feel like it's a better move to do that than anything else. All right, so that brings in sort of a tapered look to a part of Foxy. And if we're going to do that, I really kind of want to give him a nasty look. I want to give him a her, him, it. I want to give it sort of like this streamlined, it's going to cut you if you screw with it kind of look. I'm probably going to need to add some more edge loops here to make this work. So let's do that. Probably somewhere around here, I'm thinking. And at the end. So insert edge loop tool. I'm going to do one. Come on. There we go. Up here, I think. There we go. Look at that. So what I'm kind of favoring with this version is having these sort of weird spikes come out at angles. The intent behind that is that if you go up against this character, even if it runs next to you, it's just going to cut you up. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Doesn't have to make sense, just has to make sense in your brain. So there we go. So, I mean, really, because if he folded over, this part of the body would end up colliding with this at some point. So really, this part should probably be cut into 2 separate portions. Let's do this and try to see what happens there. So there's the 2 separate bits. And we're going to go back to 1, and we're going to seal them up, I think. So let's grab that and do the bridge. And now we need the last bridge over here, but we don't have one to actually do. So because of that, we're going to need to seal this whole thing with a cap. So let's go ahead and do where's fill hole. There we go. Let's start working with the multi-cut tool and make that actually happen. There we are. And we've got this one over here. I want to make that connect to there. And let's see if we got a quad. Do we have a quad? No, we don't. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sided thing going on here, which is a bit of an issue. What happens if we hit 3? Ooh, we got an opening right there. That is probably where I screwed up, because that's a triangle. So let's just fill it for now. Let's not worry about it too much. Let's hit 3 key again. So there's that bit. That's kind of connected into the bone structure. I like that. I like it divided up. It gives it more articulation between each point. And I kind of want to do the same thing for this. Let's go to edge and tooth, 1 mode. Grab that and go bridge. G key again. This and this, and G key. This and this, and G key as well. Yeah. Okay, now hit the 3 key. That's still one object. I'm going to grab the verts. No, I'm going to go to F8 twice. And let's do a multi-cut. No, not multi-cut. I want to do insert edge loop. There we are. And up there. Now that I have that so dramatically done, I should be able to grab just a portion of this and kind of... No, that's not what I want. Let's go back here, shift right click. Let's continue to work with this until we've got exactly what we want. So we're going to do, nope, that, and that. There we are. That's better. Hit 2 key. Now we can see the definition that's happening. I'm going to grab this bit right here and kind of make that pulled out. And even pulled out that way. Kind of like the top bit. Now that's really severe. I'm going to soften it a little bit, but you know, if you don't make it severe, you won't know what is too much. Grabbing these two, let's pull them in. Now we can kind of see the underlying spinal column while it's still connected to it, which is good. And that goes into this bit up here. But we're going to need another edge loop. Why? Because I want this to integrate into the top. So let's find an edge loop that works for us. There we are. And now let's go to 1 key. And that's such a mess. 3 key. And that is such a mess too. Okay, I obviously messed things up pretty bad. Let's think about this. Is that that's inside out, isn't it? That's not. Okay, so now let's pull that side up, this side out, and this side up. Now these bits here need to be pulled inwards. Same thing with that one, I'm sure. There we are, much better. Now that I have that good, I can go and kind of pull that upwards. And now this part, which has absolutely no form or function other than being a chest plate, can actually provide us with something visually interesting, because it's going to kind of go up and follow along with everything happening below it. There we go. See that curve? So we got the curve coming in, we got the curve coming out. It's not perfect yet. We'll tweak and play with it. But hopefully you kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to go for. I'm not the best artist. I'm far from being a good artist in any way, sense, or form. But you can kind of see what's going on here. I've got these bits coming in, and they're kind of these harsh shapes. And actually, you know what? This shape is all messed up, isn't it? See that horrible crease right there? So there's something about this vertex, I think. All right, 2 key. What is going on? All right, that's face mode. Let's go to vertex mode. Let's just hit 1 and take a look. So there's something going on here that I don't like. And what is it? Sorry to interrupt a statement in the middle of making it, but I saw something kind of messed up. And I'm just trying to figure out what exactly it is. So while you can do a lot of crazy stuff, you still got to kind of come back and make sure things make sense. And kind of fix geometry and insert additional geometry when things don't make sense. See, I've got this point that's way off from every other point. See it? And it's almost as if this point doesn't belong with the rest of them. It's part of a different shape. You can see kind of this hard edge right there. So what happens if we hit F8 and I go to... F8 is object mode, or it toggles between component and object mode. So if we do like that, see how nasty that geometry becomes? That tells me right there that we've got some stupid stuff going on. I really messed something up. Yeah, I screwed something up. So let's kind of look back along each of these lines. Now all of them look okay. The ones that don't look okay are this one and this one. These look like they need to go back. Now, although this one now looks like it needs to go forward. And these now, whoops, these look like something's going on with them. Something, I'm missing something. I'm not getting something. Pull that out. That's better. It's not perfect. I'm going to let that slide for the moment, and I might have to come back to it at some point. All right, that being said, we still have this thing down here, the, what is this, the pelvis that we need to work with. So we can, of course, pull it out. We can make it more savage to kind of follow the model that I'm dealing with right now with Foxy. To do that, we're going to need to insert additional edge loops. Yeah, look at that. That's a pelvis you do not want to screw with. That will F you up. And I would like to pull that back, but I want to do it in a way that works for everything I'm dealing with. So let's get rid of all that. So let's try something. I'm going to do something that's probably bad. I'm going to rotate it. Yeah, that's bad. Let's try to fix it. Pull that out. And look in here, and we can kind of see all this nonsense happening in there. Yeah, like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing for this. I'm just pulling stuff out and apart so I can see what's happening, because the geometry is really complicated at this point. And you know, I'm sorry I can't better describe what's going on with this, but that's kind of what happens when you get past the beginner level of things. You know, if this was a beginner level thing, I'd just say like, okay, we extrude it, we move it 0.02 points to this area, but now I don't really know what I'm doing. And therefore, I kind of just got to keep doing it until I know what works. And that's what you're going to have to do. If you're watching this series to learn stuff, at some point you're just going to have to keep trying until it works. So there's that into that, and here's this big quad. And that quad is all kinds of messed up. And I think this is part of the reason. So let's do 3. See it right there? You can see that quad that's kind of all kind of messed up. See, I can pull that out. So do I like what I have? That's the question now. I got this sharp bend up here. I got a sharp dot right here, which I'm going to just kind of get rid of because no one needs to look at that. Yeah, we're not. That's not the kind of FNAF game we're making. And I think that's good. We'll go with that. It's sharp, has this interesting twist, which I kind of like into it. And it's got these other elements as well. That'll be part of it. If anything, the front piece might need to come down a little bit so that I don't have self-intersections with some weird places. Something like that. Okay, that looks good to me. And we kind of addressed that other side. Now you can see some of the problems here. I'm going to delete that other side right there. And we're coming up to this. Now I've already made this sweeping motion that kind of makes sense. And I'm trying to think about what I want to do next. So this comes up, but it's not up severe enough. We want this to be more dramatic, don't we? maybe down and over, something like that, and in. So it comes around and over and up and around. And that's interesting. So I'm going to push this in a little bit. But I want another line coming down here, because if you push it out too far, it's going to look like... So there's going to be a difference between how it looks to a human being. If you push it out to the sides, it's going to look more like a breast. If you push it further inwards, it's going to look more like muscle. So, you know, depending upon your look and feel of what you're trying to put together, you need to be very, very attentive to how it is constructed here. So I'm going to kind of push a few of these in and out, and I'm going to just fill out Foxy's rib cage a little bit here. And I'm going to start pushing these in. Now I'm trying to think. That's where it begins there, but I don't like that. I'm almost to the point where I want this to be somewhere over there, and the whole thing to kind of feed in. Whoops, I'm messing with stuff on the back. Not what I intended to do. Almost like a curve in and out, like this. You can see you got to be careful when you're working in that kind of mode, because it's very easy for you to start screwing things up. So you always got to come back and look at it from a different view. So in many ways, we're probably adding more detail than we actually need, but better to add more and subtract later, or use it on the normal map later on, than to not have the detail at all. Let's see here. Something's going wrong here, so I need to fix these bits. So as I was moving things around, I'm sure one part went up and another part went down, and the whole thing came apart. So let's see what we got here. Let's go to 2 mode, and maybe that's going to help me out. So this and this are all problems. This comes up. Let's go to shading. Whoops. I keep clicking the wrong button. Shading, X-ray. Get a better sense of what's happening here. So we can see these two right there. I'm going to hit 1 key. So this comes up and over here, and then we've got this bit there. Now is that's a 5-sided polygon, it looks like, maybe? Let's go back to turn off X-ray. There we go. All right, I'm trying to just see what's happening here. Just feeling it out, seeing where the geometry leads me. We can kind of see that this becomes where the quads come together, which is always an interesting point in geometry. So I kind of got to be careful with that one. Can't let it get too crazy. Pull that out maybe. And you know, the question now becomes, what do I do with this little bit here? Do we flare it out? Do we flare all of it out? Do we keep it in? I'm going to flare it out slightly for the moment. Now, ultimately, the rib cage looks ridiculously underpowered for this character. Yeah, ridiculously underpowered. But it might be interesting to see what it looks like with the addition of musculature coming up from the spine out to the sides. So I'm going to let it be underpowered at the moment. We're not going to put any abs in here. We'll put some muscles that come straight down into the pelvic area to make more sense. Maybe structured somewhere here in the central area. So if anything, I might put like a central node right here, connect it somewhere else, and then have it kind of pull out from all different directions. All right, you know what? This video is getting long enough. We hit 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop there with my tweaks to Foxy. I'll see you all next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. So long. Goodbye.